remote viewing Area 51, S1 through S6, including the Area 51 hangar buildings, military buildings, and administration buildings on the surface where the Area 51 facilities are, and then going downwards for the underground facilities. So basically the surface facilities, it's the military base itself. So this is not where all the high-tech advanced research and testing is done. It's not done on the surface level facilities because there's, again, the hangar buildings in Area 51, which test out the basic technology that's used by the military to make new planes, drones, spy technology. So that's what the surface level bases are used for in the hangar buildings. There's also military personnel that work in the military buildings themselves, and there's the administrative buildings. So it's a huge base, Area 51, beside Nevada. So in the Nevada desert, really. So when you look at the surface, that's what the surface stuff is. The surface base that's called Area 51. But Area 51 is huge because they have underground facilities. And there's a huge elevator / lift that goes to the underground tunnel systems and caverns. So that's a big elevator shaft from the main building that goes down underground. So in the main building of Area 51, where the military is stationed near the hangars, so there's kind of when you go in the middle of the building, that's classified. That's to go down to the elevator, the lift tunnel system. And there's security checkpoints there to make sure only secure personnel who are supposed to go into S1 through S6 go into those underground facilities and nobody else. So there's strict security. Then the personnel is taken through the elevator / lift tunnel system, going down the elevator, and it stops at the various levels of the conduit hub facilities. S1 is the bioengineering labs. S2 is the exotic technologies labs. S3 is virology genetics. S4 is engineering weapons. S5 is mind-altering technologies. S6 is the supercomputer network library. And that's what comprises the underground S1 through S6 conduit hub facilities. There's also 6 other levels, and they are the maintenance system conduit hubs that house the mini systems generators that power the underground facility. And it's also connected, these mini generators are connected to the main core systems generator that again powers the whole elevator lift tunnel system and gives power to S1 through S6. And the mini generators give the power to the core systems generator. So that's the underground facility. There's 12 of these conduit hub facilities altogether that comprise the underground base facility of Area 51, S1 through S6. And on the surface, there's also airplane runways. There's 4 of them on the surface, and the various personnel, military personnel, administration personnel, scientists who work in Area 51, they're flown in by airplanes. that land on these runways to deliver the personnel and the staff to work on the surface bases of Area 51 in the hangar buildings, military buildings, administration buildings, and those personnel who are cleared to work in the underground, S1 through S6 facilities, they're shuttled, they get off the airplanes, they're shuttled in to the main bases on the surface, and then they're cleared through security and they go through the underground elevator lift system to whichever lab or labs they're supposed to work in from S1 through S6. So that's how the staff, the personnel, the administration people are delivered to Area 51 by airplanes. And once they're done their work, then they're shuttled back to the arriving airplane and taken back to Nevada or wherever else they need to go. So that's the system of Area 51. And I have a diagram from the remote viewing session that I created of what the systems look like from the surface Area 51 basis. It's a huge, I consider it like mini bases on the surface. It's a huge base, but they have many different buildings and parts of Area 51 on the surface. And then the underground facility, the conduit hub facilities, S1 through S6, and then the maintenance system conduit hubs that maintain power to the underground base. So that's Area 51 diagram. S1 through S6 and the surface buildings of the base that I remote viewed. And I'm going to provide further description in the data points that came in from the remote viewing. Remote viewing notes. On the surface of the land, main military hangar buildings and smaller buildings with runways, and off the main large hangar building, as well as staff offices, there is a huge underground shaft tunnel system / lift, which has a large elevator lift going down deep into the earth with cavern systems that have conduit building areas branching off the elevator core system. These conduit hubs are the separate facilities titled S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. Before entering any of the S1 to S6 conduit hub facilities, there is a security level that has biometric systems with retina scanners, DNA, hand scanners, and fingerprint scanners. At the end of the shaft tunnel elevator / lift system, there is a core hub generator device that powers the connected conduit hub building facilities, providing the main power for the labs and experimental conduit hubs. The first 6 conduit hubs are the main underground facilities of Area 51. That's in and near and around the Nevada desert. That's Area 51 because the base is huge. It covers several acres of land, and the base has been expanding since its inception in 1950s, 1960s, and onwards. So there are more conduit hubs, which are maintenance facilities going deeper into the earth towards the core generator device that powers the complete underground infrastructure system of all the conduit hubs. The maintenance facility conduit hubs have their own mini generators, which energetically send capacitive beam energies to the largest main core generator to power the 12 Area 51 conduit hubs underground. Those are the underground facilities, and they're separate from the surface level base. Only humans are allowed to work and live in the 6 S1 through S6 conduit hubs. No extraterrestrials are permitted in the underground facilities. The humans are flown in on planes that land on the runways on the surface of Area 51 facilities, and then the scientists, admin, and military personnel are transported down to the underground facilities via the large elevator lift system that stops at the various conduit hub levels to deposit people where they need to work on the specific levels that they are designed to as their job stations. All the S1 through S6 conduit hub facilities are compartmentalized, so only the top bosses and supervisors share reports of what happens in the individual conduit hubs in terms of experiments, research, scientific projects, testing, etc. So these are very extensive underground facilities, and they branch off into Groom Lake. And again, Area 51 is a huge surface space facility with many buildings and sections on the surface as well as the underground facilities. Remote viewing descriptions of the S1 through S6 conduit hub facilities. S1 bioengineering labs. There are bioengineering labs where ET human hybrids are created, cloned beings, regeneration tanks, DNA resequencing, creating shape-shifting humanoids that can shift into other animals, objects, or beings, age regression, reversal systems, and biological drug serum mechanisms that are inserted into various human and ET bodies to experiment with how age factors are reversed from being old to young again, memory erasure technologies that are also being developed. S2, exotic technologies, development of exotic antimatter technologies, anomalous metal alloys associated with space-time matrix alteration, fusion drives, hyperspeed plasma drives, alternative methods of zero-point travel, time travel technologies in development, time warping technologies designed to open wormholes and black holes to change the fabric of space, creating artificial portal gateways and streams that open doors to other galaxies, dimensions, and universes. S3, virology and genetics. Biochemical reverse engineering of life forms to learn true genesis of original DNA templates, species origins and biowarfare, viral technologies development, virus mutations in double helix-stranded viruses, spread of exotic viral strains in populations on Earth and other planets, DNA sequencing and creating new genomic variants for life forms. Alterations of DNA on the cellular level where bodies can semi-dematerialize and walk through walls. In first experiments, bodies fused to walls and there was a lot of blood spatter from organs exploding until the dematerialization process was perfected with specific cellular strand DNA augmentation designed to make skin, cells, tissues, bones, and tendons to be malleable in order to do deconstruction of cellular components in the body, and then rematerializing the body without damaging the flesh, bone, and the organs. Development of nanotechnology for body augmentation and smart tech armor development, invisible nanoshielding, orbital levitation drives that augment the smart armor to make it float, spin fast, going at fast speeds, agility, and strength enhancement, as well as protecting the smart armor against bullet projectiles, laser phaser fire, etc. S4, engineering weapons, development of beyond the speed of light hyperdimensional spacecraft designed to avoid warp space looping of physical time matter, triangular craft and circular saucer-shaped ships, stealth craft, levitating above the ground, special metallic alloys that shift the craft out of physical visible focus spectrums, thereby cloaking the craft and making them invisible. Reverse engineering of extraterrestrial spacecrafts and other advanced technologies, retrieval of crashed crafts, ancient technological artifacts like self-sustainable energy devices, sentient AI with spheres of light, communications devices, etc. There are retrieval teams and special forces operatives that do all the retrieval missions and then bring back the retrieved items to the S4 facility for study and back engineering. Energy weapons creation / testing for laser weapons development, plasma weapons testing, electromagnetic fusion weapons testing, magnetic pulse beam weapons development, etc. Energy compression systems holding large amounts of energies in small spaces. S5, mind-altering technologies. Research and development of mind-altering technologies, enhancing brain functions, memory functions, so that people have photographic memory or eidetic memory, creating psychic abilities, precognition chambers where subjects are immersed in suspended liquids that teach the subjects how to alter time and space in order to freeze time. Time traveling backwards in time or forwards in time to see events with the mind, manipulating the fabric of time and space itself to change timelines or to create alternative timelines. S6, Supercomputer Network Library, biggest supercomputer network library / knowledge repository with servers, data, artifacts, and holographic technologies development facility on Earth, storing all the cyber cloud data from Earth's computer systems, databases, and satellites. There is a genetics library with skin samples, cells, tissues, and various ET genomic DNA profiles of humanoid species, as well as a secondary library of animal and plant genomics, profiling for Earth life forms. Specimens are vacuum sealed and sensitive items are stored in cryostasis suspension devices. These supercomputers and the holographic technologies are the largest digital matrix hubs, creating backups of all the Black Vault systems for the 11 vaults storing all of Earth's informational resources. The Black Vault 9 is located in an underground facility in Antarctica. The walls in the underground conduit hub laboratories and facilities of Area 51, S1 to S6 are made of refractory alloys, which make the color of the walls a blue-gray spectrum. The refractory alloys have the blue-gray tint on all the walls of the facilities to filter out shadows and make the lighting continuous, without variation or variations in the color spectrums. This makes it more convenient to work on the reverse-engineered technologies and study various devices without shadows projecting other color tones. Because these color tones, so the objects being worked on can't have any shadows blocking the objects themselves, so there can't be any color tone variations on the objects. The objects must be exactly what they are without shadows to do the precise work of studying the reverse engineered technologies and to also replicate the extraterrestrial engines, crafts, whatever they're studying, they must be able to replicate it perfectly to work the same. Here is an example of a reference likeness image of what the laboratories and facilities look like inside the underground Area 51 S1 to S6 locations. The walls have the blue-gray metallic color that removes shadows from being cast on the walls on any of the objects that are being worked on or studied in these various laboratories / facilities in the underground Area 51 base. So this is what the sentient AI looks like that's encased in the light sphere. So there are exotic metal alloys that encase the sphere itself. And when someone is ready to work with the AI component of the sphere, the metal alloys open up and the sphere itself levitates upwards, and it has all these beautiful vibrant colors in it because it is sentient. So it's ancient sentient AI that's in the sphere itself. That's what the sphere is. And it spins, and there's all kinds of information on the sphere. And it's an AI that can interact with a human being and can provide information. It could show you things. So when I was remote viewing this sphere, there was also some kind of golden symbols that are around the sphere when it's activated, and they don't look human to me. So it's some kind of ancient technology. So I tried my best to incorporate the symbols of what it looks like to me. So once somebody's finished working with the sphere and the AI component, the sphere closes back up with the alloys, and the metal alloys protect the sphere. So it's encased in the metal alloy. The Sentient AI light sphere, like I said, again, it's encased in exotic metal alloys that protect the sphere. When the Sentient AI is active, the sphere's alloys open up to work with the sphere's energies. And again, there's many colors that the sphere emits, many different colors that spin. So there's a glow to it. And it's not a small sphere. It's a kind of like medium-sized spherical object. And it has a lot of different components that glow when it's active. And it has some kind of an energy core source in it that powers it. And I think the metal alloy helps to recharge it somehow as well. So the metal alloy serves several different variants for the sphere. For protecting the sphere as its housing, and also for charging the sphere so it never runs out of power. Remote Viewing Project, Area 51, S1 through S6, completed on May 12, 2021 by LCA Remote Viewer.